Welcome to Place and Experience. Indulge your senses with immersive game titles. Boost the excitement with our engaging promotional tools and generous network promotions. Be in control with XI Viewport Management Tool and experience seamless gameplay powered by X Platform. Enjoy Place and Experience as our partners do in over 20 regulated markets. And get ready to go big. Big play is on. Playson.
So, hello everybody. If you've been expecting Conor Mulheir and me, today you are the lucky winners of dealing with the one-man news agency producing machine, Zach Thomas Zaku. Zach, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, Nico. It's a nice sunny day here in London, which is good. I often feel like a houseplant, If it's sunny, I'm happy, If it's cloudy, I get pretty miserable.
Okay, sounds good. Football is also on your radar as well. So, we are hosting the Euros as of now. How do you feel about the performance of the English team, the Three Lions so far?
Well, we beat Serbia. That was all right. I think we're doing Denmark today, which might be a bit more of a challenge. But, I feel like I'm cautiously optimistic, although I think I know deep down in my heart it's not going to happen.
So you're not bringing it home this year?
I would love it to happen, but it would. I don't know. It's not borne out by historical events.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds lovely. Getting back to the point, because today you are facing Denmark in my most beloved German city, which is Frankfurt. I'm pretty sure each and everybody will have the time of their lives, like the Scots had during their match against Germany here in Munich. And guess what? They literally emptied the beer gardens, the bars, etc. No more beer in Germany. No more beer in Munich, which was kind of a disaster, especially as there's a little beer fest going on in Munich. So usually we are used to tourists actually having a thirst for beer, but we've never seen anything like the Scots taking over our lovely village, because we call Munich as the most awesome village of the world. But it was fun. How are you as of now coping with the Euros and getting together with friends?
I went to go to the pub to watch the football last time around, so I'm going to try and keep doing that. But I imagine because of today the football starts at 5, I'll probably just put it on the television. Although it's a great day for it, though. How about you? You're in the city itself. Are you actually going to go watch any games, you reckon?
We will see. So we have these fan zones, which is always fun, because the tickets to actually attend the game are way too expensive. So you need to be Pierre Lind rich to actually afford a ticket like this. But that's what we're working on. And yes. Talking about it, why don't we just start with the 10 and 5? Because today I wouldn't say it like we're short with topics, because we have an awesome topic. Maybe we have a final solution in Florida, but we will just see, because it gets never boring in the US, especially as soon as it comes to licensing. But if you don't mind, I would just take us off with the 10 and 5. And as soon as we're done, you will just take us off with Florida and the latest and greatest of what happened there.
Fantastic. Sounds great.
Okay, so starting off, the Thailand casino bill draft could be ready in 4 weeks. The final draft of the bill, which is dubbed as the casino bill, would be ready for the cabinet review in 4 weeks of time. The announcement was made by Thailand's Deputy Finance Minister, Julapun Amorvivat, as reported by news agencies in Thailand and Malaysia. What is it all about? The bill, if approved and passed, would allow casinos to build on no more than 5% of space within large entertainment complexes, which would also house hotels, shops, and other entertainment services. And they estimate that this project would bring about 0.8 up to 1.3 billion US dollars in investments to the country. So maybe we will see gaming officially happening in Thailand as well. Then getting back to the Euros, So the 2024 Euros already seen record verification requests from operators. The identity verification provider ID Now revealed that since kickoff last week Friday, which is the 14th of June, the number of players being verified with a European gambling operator soared 750%, with the busiest day being the opening fixture between Germany and Scotland. This verification figure is much higher than that of any match during the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and ID Now expects this latest spike to remain stable for each country's first game. So hold your horses, because probably next week, Thursday, we will get someone from ID Now into the podcast as well, and he will just walk us through the numbers and what effects they see on ID Now's end as well. GIG completes an oversubscribed 15 million euro bond issue. The Gaming Innovation Group has successfully completed a 15 million euro subsequent senior secured bond issue under its existing euro tranche bond loan. Following the subsequent bond issue, the outstanding amount of the bond is now equivalent with 90 million. So as said, they already have an existing bond, and now they added something more. The transaction was very well received among investors across the Nordics, continental Europe, and the US, with both existing as well as new investors participating in the placement, resulting in a significant oversubscription. And they will reuse that money to actually pay for the latest acquisition as Casino Meister, etc. Morgan Stanley sees DraftKings set for a stock surge with anticipated buyback. Morgan Stanley analysts foresee a strong year ahead for DraftKings, anticipating a significant stock buyback announcement later this year that could drive investor interest and stock performance. Guess what? Because you have a fixed amount of stocks which have been given out, and if the giving out company buys back stocks, you just lower the amount of free flow of stocks, and this usually results in an increase of pricing. Speaking of undervalued companies, ESPN Bet is undervalued by markets, says an investment bank as well. Truth Securities released an update on its valuation of Penn Entertainment, rising its share price target from 23 to 25 euros per share and highlighting the value of its ESPN Bet product. In Truth's note, authored by Barry Jonas, Patrick Pugh, and Rami Robani, the bank reiterated that ESPN Bet was undervalued, stating ESPN Bet integrations appear on track with a lot riding on football season, as we outlined in our recent upgrade and now supported by activist letters. We think the market is undervaluing the company of Penn Entertainment. So we will see some movement there as well. Getting back to last week, another company is looking to a lowered fine in Sweden, as Bet365 fine is reduced on appeal to 3.9 million. The fines, which hit both the company's sports betting and gaming arms, resulted from several responsible gaming and deposit limit failures. The SGA initially imposed 77 million Swedish kronor in fines in the operator in April last year, and these fines have now been reduced to 40 million Swedish kronor for the sports betting entity and 4 million for the gaming operations of Hillside. Jake Paul's Better forms partnership with Betting Ladies. Sports gaming and media company Better has announced a strategic partnership with women-focused sports betting community Betting Ladies. The collaboration aims to foster inclusivity and empowerment within sports betting by tapping into Betting Ladies' audience and leveraging Better's platform and social channels the parties set. GIG Media, getting back to the bonds they just issued, sorry. No, that's my fault. GIG Media onboards new SEO team acquiring Titan Inc. for 3 million. GIG has secured heads of terms to acquire UK-based Titan, a specialist supplier of SEO optimized content services for iGaming media campaigns for 3.2 million. GIG's acquisition will be paid in 3 installments, rewarding Titan with a 1 million payment on deal closing and 2 further 1 million payments on a 12 and 24-month agreement, which is the usual earnout model. Then 2 more to go as Codir reduces debts by 92% as part of new global recapitalization plan. So the Spanish gambling operators' debt will fall from about 1.6 billion euros to 128 million. And if you ask yourself, how is this possible? Pretty simple. The deal involves the company's ownership being passed on to the creditors who are largely now existing shareholders. So the overall UBO structure has changed, and guess what? They will now be able to operate once again. And last but not least, Evo PLC has license suspended in Romania for 48 hours. So Evox PLC's 88 Romania Limited had its gaming license suspended in Romania for 48 hours between June of 14th and 16th. The issue arose from an inquiry by Romania's gambling regulator concerning Evoque's decision to block multiple user accounts after receiving IBA signals indicating suspicious bets. As said, the regulator doesn't play around, and that's why the license had been suspended for 48 hours. But that's my 10 and 5, and now we're getting back to Zach and his insights on the story of Florida.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Nico. So yeah, I mean, I thought I'd talk about the big news from this week, in my opinion, which was the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to deny West Flagler's petition to review its case. Now, this has been something that's been going on for a few years now. It started off in 2021, and it's something that really has big implications for, I think, not just tribal gaming and how the tribes will interact with sports betting going forward, but really just sports betting in general, US sports betting, and potentially iGaming as well. It's a really big landmark in the history of US regulation, in my opinion. So where this began was in 2021, when the state of Florida signed a 30-year gaming compact with the Seminole tribe that granted them, among other things, exclusivity over online sports betting. So the compact was known as a hub and spoke compact, in which off-reservation bets were wired through tribal servers to satisfy the Indian land requirements of the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. So the IGRA, as it's often known, really is the legal basis for tribal gaming in the US. And one aspect of the act is that the bets have to be placed on actual tribal land. That's why tribal casinos have to be on tribal land. Now, the way it's getting around this is by making the bets really be wired through the servers on the ground, even if you could maybe argue that that isn't really where the bet is taking place. And this has been one of the big contentious points in the legal dispute. So two Florida pari-mutuel betting operators who were quite upset that this was happening. This is West Flagler Associates and the Boniface Myers Corporation decided to challenge the compact in the courts. So they started with a federal challenge, filing a suit in the DC circuit in the District of Columbia in 2021. And they were initially proved successful. So their their then sportsbook, Hard Rock Sportsbook. It's now been replaced by Hard Rock Bet, but then it was called Hard Rock Sportsbook, was taken offline in December 2021 after the judge ruled that the compact violated the IGRA. So this was really making it look like this could be the end of this sort of arrangement. However, the Seminoles appealed, and a 3-judge panel in the DC Circuit in June 2023 sided with the Department of the Interior, which was who was the case actually been fought against. So it's kind of interesting that the Seminoles themselves are not actually signed as a defendant in this suit. It's the government. This was where things stood. This was a big victory for them. After a little bit of legal wrangling, a lot of the West Flagler appealing to other courts, trying to get a stay ordered that would prevent them from launching a sportsbook. All these efforts ultimately proved unsuccessful, and in December 2023, the Seminoles launched Hard Rock Bet, made it live for all Florida consumers after a soft launch to loyalty card members. So yeah, I mean, this is but after the DC Circuit decision, the West Flagler decided to appeal to the final appeal court in the US, which is the US Supreme Court. And there was some filings from both sides about where this was going to go, and I think it was widely expected that it was that the court would deny. Because they don't take most of the cases that have prevented before. They can only take a very small percentage. But I think I'll leave that there because I think, Nico, you wanted to say something.
So first of all, before I say something, we want to thank our sponsors, and that's why we're going to play just a tiny advertisement here as well. So Lorena, could you just take us off?
Hundreds of studios, dozens of Hub Market partners, an industry-leading Hub wallet, and just one API. Hub 88 is connecting businesses to a world of limitless content where the possibilities are endless. Hub 88.
So perfect. Yeah, just to add something from my end as well, because this overall Florida and sports betting issue or topic has been covered within this weekly news quite often. And for those who actually do not yet remember what we spoke about in the beginning of 2022, there was a ballot pushed by FanDuel and DraftKings where they needed roughly 900,000 signatures, verified signatures, to actually fight the decision. Funny enough, they had 1.3 million signatures. Unfortunately, you still have to verify these signatures, and they fell short. Although both of the companies spent roughly 15 and 35 million US dollars, they fell short to verify the existing signatures by roughly 400,000 signatures who they didn't verify. Then, you know, we had something going on with Ron DeSantis, the senator of Florida, actually deciding on, okay, it's good like it is. The Seminole tribe will be giving the exclusive right, the monopoly to actually run sports betting with their partner of Hard Rock Entertainment, Hard Rock Cafe. And as of now, and this is where now your expertise, Zach, comes into place, we have an actual ruling, and that reads quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so this was the order list that dropped the other day at 9:30, where the Supreme Court had puts down all its orders in all these pending cases. So it was only like a paragraph in this big bundle of documents. But what it said was very brief. It said when we decided to not grant certiorari, which is the formal request to review a lower court's ruling. And so in this case, I mean, it's dead. It also said Justice Kavanagh would have granted certiorari, and that's basically it. A lot of people had expected Justice Kavanagh, had placed a lot of hopes in Justice Kavanagh, because he said a little while back when in a little bit of writing about the case that if the compact indeed allowed people to place bets off tribal lands, then that indeed would represent a breach of the IGRA. So some attorneys, including Daniel Wallach, who's someone I spoke to about the case, really believe that this was evidence that the court might not only grant certiorari, but it might even go a step further, do what they call a summary reversal, which is where they would just reverse it if the whole court agreed, pen their opinion to it, and that would be that. But that is not what happened. The case was dismissed, and a lot of people have been celebrating, like, this is it. This is the end of all legal challenges to these hub and spoke compacts. This is how things are going to go. I don't think it's quite that clear cut just yet, because they're, as Wallach pointed out, they have a couple of other bites of the apple, as he put it, a couple of other options to challenge it. So they could try another state level challenge. So they tried to do this before, where they highlighted Florida's state constitutional ban on casino gambling. I quote that because that's the exact wording, and without approval from voters in a referendum. And whether casino gambling applies to sports betting is I think actually quite a technical question, but this is what they would try to go for. They tried it before. The Florida Supreme Court dismissed the case, but not on the merits. It dismissed it because their chosen petition was not the appropriate one. That's what they said. So they could try again. They could try again in the trial courts, I think, is the way they could go about it. Now, then, other than that, they've also got the option of maybe a couple more federal challenges, because this case wasn't dismissed on the merits either. They could try to challenge it on the Equal Amendments clause of the 14th Amendment, which is which is where they would argue that granting an economic monopoly to an Indian tribe is unconstitutional on these grounds. Or the final option is they could try and challenge the Department of Interior's rulemaking. The Department of the Interior in February published a rule which seemed to affirm the legality of Florida-style gaming compacts. So they can maybe challenge that as opposed to the DOI's compact itself. The compact itself. So that's kind of where we stand. I think, I mean, speaking as someone who's not a lawyer and very much doesn't have any special inside knowledge, I wouldn't be optimistic about the success of any more of these legal challenges. But I think it's something to keep in mind alongside the. I think there's been a little bit of celebration. I don't think it's quite that clear cut, but this is definitely a very, very important moment in the history of these kind of compacts. So yeah, I mean, that's where we are. I mean, and what does this mean? I mean, on the face of it, the ruling means that, well, I say the ruling, the order means the Seminoles will likely get to keep their exclusivity until 2051, which is a very long time away. That's we go back 30 years to where we are now. When would that be? Like 1990, 1994? So think about how different online gambling was back then. By 2051, the US will be a very different kind of market. It'll be a very mature gambling market, perhaps much more European in its character, maybe much more tightly regulated. Or that might, I mean, it could be, I mean, online gambling as we know it might not even exist in quite the same way. I mean, who knows? This is a very long time in the future. So I think for all intents and purposes, as the British famously said about Hong Kong, when I think they got their 150-year agreement from the Chinese, it's as good as forever. So that's kind of, I think, the way people are thinking of it. This is as good as forever. I mean, as previously highlighted by Chris Grove in his State of the Union address in next New York, I mean, this could provide the tribe with maybe a springboard to become a much more serious player in the overall US market. Maybe you'll try and see Hard Rock try to really become a proper second-tier operator. In fact, this is, I think, been driving some of the recent speculation. The Seminoles may decide to try and buy Penn Entertainment, which has an activist investor, which is pushing for internally for a sale. Sorry, I say internally. He published an open letter calling for a sale. Because you could see it. Imagine Hard Rock wanting both the regional casino assets, which by all accounts are still quite valuable, as well as the ESPN Bet brand, database, and market access agreements, which would really be like a great base to really begin to actually challenge like US market. I mean, if we learn one thing over the past few years of US OSB, it's not particularly easy to challenge the DraftKings and FanDuel. So, I mean, there's been lots of optimistic talk about many other operators, which had lots of good things going for them, who all seem to always, without fail, fall flat on their face. So, I mean, who knows? But I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. Maybe zooming out a little bit. I mean, what does this mean for the overall landscape? I saw a note from analysts at JMP Securities, which said the decision would ultimately increase tribal leverage in the overall sports betting landscape. And what they mean by this is that, like in some states where some current non-sports betting states, so you have like Wisconsin, a bunch of others, but very importantly, California. Tribes may decide to enter into compacts in using this kind of hub and spoke model to regulate sports betting, as opposed to these difficult, increasingly difficult, as we saw with the DEDS legislative sessions this year even, and ballot initiatives. So this could be a sort of a sideway door into it. I think a little bit of caution there is that in Florida, you have the Seminole tribe, and the Seminole tribe are the tribe, the big gaming tribe. There's not really any sort of equivalence. While California, I don't know exact numbers, but I think there's like 53 tribes or gaming tribes. I'm not quite sure which one off the top of my head, but that's like a very different kind of arrangement, and I'm not sure it's going to be quite as clear cut. I mean, there might be a lot of jostling, hard to come up with an agreement. But then again, I mean, the tribes in California, they fought off the sports betting operators with relative unity. So you can sort of imagine a world in which they do try and band together and figure something out. Who knows? This is quite speculative now. But also, I mean, but when the tribes do this, if they do this to legalize sports betting in other jurisdictions, they might they'll probably still want to partner with sports betting operators. They could try and do it themselves, maybe like signing, I don't know, like Canby or someone as a B2B operator, and just try and do it themselves with their own brand and stuff. But I think it's a big task, like running a sports book, and I think farming out might be the wiser thing to do. And so the JMP ended the notes by saying, overall, this is actually maybe a slight positive for the sports betting operators themselves, who might now see increased chance of regulation in other jurisdictions. Maybe these agreements will have to pay a lot more than they would for the 5% typically done in a traditional market access agreement. I think the market itself has kind of agreed with the sentiment. It's hard to often tease this stuff out, but DraftKings share price shot up 8% following the order. So I think the markets as well think this story is broadly true. So, I mean, what do you make of it, Nico? What's your assessment of how this has changed the board and where things are going to go?
So first of all, it's so from a company's perspective, having a market like Florida, right? So Florida being labeled as one of the big four markets based on GDP, bigger is California, then it's Texas, New York, and then you already have Florida. So just owning the market for now 27 years still gives you a decent foundation or a revenue stream. And as you already pointed out, so based on the secured earnings, you will see you can just spend the money somewhere else, which gives you like a decent or deep pockets. Let me phrase this one. Then you pointed out like Penn Entertainment, which I already pointed out within my 10 and 5, is as of now undervalued. So it might be a target for sure. And it will be interesting if this or the upcoming M&A moves will, put the DraftKings and the FanDuels under pressure, because as of now, it's just a duopoly all over the US except Florida. And in Florida, we just have a monopole, Seminole Tribe with Hard Rock, who will run this state. Unfortunately, and we all know that usually competition keeps you in condition. And for sure, this will not happen in Florida for quite some time. As of now, it has been, and it probably will still be, a legal game, and we will just see as soon as Hard Rock and the Seminole Tribe will release their sports betting apps and start operating once again in Florida. But one thing is for sure, we covered this topic for almost 2.5 years, and I'm pretty sure we will not run out of stories just based on that topic. So this one is for sure.
I mean, it is really interesting. I mean, one thing I've been thinking about is everyone's talking about this monopoly now that's going to last for the next 27 years. I mean, I don't think it's actually set in stone, right? I mean, you had other monopolies up in DC and Rhode Island where you had people, legislators trying to change it because they don't think it's actually creating good value for money. So, I mean, it could be challenged on those grounds. And while the compact is with the states, I mean, there's nothing stopping a ballot initiative or something. You could still theoretically pass sports betting the old-fashioned way, and that wouldn't conflict with the compact exactly. They would just be competing in the same market. I mean, you'd also, it sort of breaks down because you have to think about the politics, and I can't imagine the operators seriously mounting a challenge after California to the Seminoles. But I think, I don't know. I mean, like as time goes on, we might see pressure to open it up.
Exactly. And in the end, the customers decide on if there's pressure, yes or no, or the inhabitants of Florida. And as you already pointed out, a ballot is always possible. The next ballot can be done in 2025. They fell short in 2022. So they have 3 years of time where they cannot file for a ballot. So in 2025, we might see some changes. But one thing is for sure, as of now, the Seminole Tribe with Hard Rock for sure has a head start. So this head start will at least be valid for probably 12 months of time. And within 12 months, you can earn a decent amount of money deep in your pockets. And then we will just see how it will turn out. And if Hard Rock, which I'm pretty sure they will have an eye on the existing products of FanDuel and DraftKings, update their own product. They are not facing competition in Florida. And then as soon as probably the ballot will go through in 2025, it will be an open game once again. And then it will be very interesting to see how and if Hard Rock will face FanDuel and DraftKings. Because one thing is for sure, they will not surrender this state without doing their best to actually still have a little bit of a niche or an open door. And as we all know, FanDuel and DraftKings, they don't run out of money as well.
I mean, that is true. I mean, it's fascinating, I think. I mean, I think the politics of the tribes versus the operators is always interesting. Like, there's been a lot of talk of the apology tour that happened after the ballot initiatives. You have FanDuel hiring a bunch of ex-tribal executives as part of their bid to sort of make peace with the tribes. Maybe they can live without Florida for now, but who knows how things will change in future. And it's because it's quite a big market. It's a big state. It's not, you're not talking about another Rhode Island here. This is serious business. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll write it off, but maybe give it 5 years. Maybe they'll want a piece of it.
So first, and always keep in mind that actually the shareholders of DraftKings and FanDuel, they want to see revenues. And if you just, leave a market like Florida aside and don't fight to actually get into the market, I'm pretty sure there will be pressure of the shareholders of DraftKings and FanDuel. So it ain't an easy game. But you will not run out of stories. And if you just read through the status quo story, just get back to next.io, read through the latest and greatest story which Zach has published, and you will for sure see other stories as well, just linked to the same topic as you mentioned. So it's an ongoing issue for almost 2.5 years as of now.
Fantastic.
So anything else we want to cover this week, or are we just enjoying ourselves watching the football? What do you think?
Well, I think I need to have a beer. I need to go sit outside in the sunshine. I need to get ready for the football, Nico.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, so I reckon pretty much the same. Watching, there's already one match going on. I don't know the score yet because Germany won their game yesterday, and as I'm a pretty down-to-earth German, I'm just interested in the German. No, jokes aside. So as said, last weekend on a Saturday, I welcomed great guys from Scotland. John Gordon from Incentive Games and the overall crew of Incentive Games, and it was so much fun. In the end, putting the rivalry aside, which might occur during a regular football match, it's just all about the memories and actually enjoying themselves, having a decent and great time here in the big cities of Germany. And whoever wants to just fly over to Germany, like the Scots did, so they had like 12,000 tickets for 200,000 Scottish people. And, it doesn't take a genius that they ran short of tickets, and they all had a decent time here in Munich. And as said, everybody's welcome, and just make the best possible time. Wherever you are, just enjoy the football and make some new friends wherever this might occur.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's a lovely note to end on, isn't it?
It is. So see you next week. Zach, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for enlightening us. Thanks to the audience as well. And see you next week at the same time, same place.
Fantastic. See you then.
Bye.